Alrighty, we are live. We are live. Yes, honey. Hey y'all. Hey y'all. Let me see. Okay. Hey y'all. Those for coming in. Hey Shay. How are you? What's good? Look at you. Hey honey. Hey, I'm. This is not my jewelry. This is the weigh-in. This is not B Base's alabaster box. I'm coming on because I haven't done an episode for my YouTube channel in a while, and I need to have a conversation, and I want to talk to my teachers, my teacher friends, all of them. I really want to talk to my teacher friends. Okay. I want to talk to my teacher friends and I want to see what's good. All right. So we're going to have a conversation with I'm having a conversation. No problem. You can stay on, boo. You don't have to get off. I mean, it's an open conversation, but it's directed towards my teacher friends. You know, I'm always open to my conversations. Oh, I wouldn't be live. Or I wouldn't be live. Yes, I am. I'm really I just want to discuss some stuff. I got so much on my mind. Like, it's not even funny. All right, y'all. I am streaming to two channels right now. So if I come across blurry or anything, forgive me. I'm streaming to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. I'm not in Facebook. I'm on my streaming app, but I'm streaming to two locations at the same time. So, um, but most of my people are on Facebook. My subscriptions on my channel is not fully up yet, but I'm streaming to both. So I'm welcome again anyway to the weigh in. That's my channel where I do all my conversations on topics that really interest me. And so I really wanted to talk to my teacher friends, which is why it says, I don't know if you can see the topic of this or not, but it says fellow teachers, are we okay? That's my question. I got a couple of questions, but are we okay? To my fellow teachers, even to my parents, it's a really open conversation, but I'm gearing it towards my teachers. Are we okay? Um, I don't say much, but I have a lot on my mind, and I'm keeping it PG-13. I mean, I'm not here to bash or to push an agenda, but definitely have some topics that I would love to discuss with some of my fellow teacher friends. So um, if you are a teacher or a parent, either or, feel free to comment. And if you would like to join, like on the video, I can add you into my video and you can definitely talk in person and share your opinions if you would like to. But it's a pop up conversation. I know I didn't schedule it or anything, but it was really on my spirit and I just really wanted to talk. I got a couple of questions I wanted to kind of to just bring the discussion around um, into. So, again, if you're a teacher or somebody, speak to me. Let me know what's going on. Like I said, this is not a it's not a jury conversation or anything like that. I'll be doing that later. But this is me, really want to have a conversation about, are we okay and what's going on. So, like I said, the weigh in is the topic of my conversation channel. I do that on Monday on YouTube, but I'm bringing it to Facebook as well because more of my following is built on Facebook. So I'm streaming to both channels right now. All right. Um, so anyway, I'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully, as people jump in, maybe see the topic, they'll join in. But so I wanted to really build my topic around the first question, and I'll just start with that. Fellow teachers, are you okay? How are you doing? How are you feeling? Is there um, anybody that may feel some type of way or whatever the case may be? I can speak for myself, and I'll start off with my own little quick testimony. Doing this whole situation with school and the closures and virtual learning and everything that's going on. Um, it's been a very interesting journey. I'm gonna start off with that. It's been a very interesting journey. It's not a negative thing. I always try to look at everything half full, so I'm very optimistic. I'm not a very pessimistic person, but definitely see a lot of things that were good. Our students could benefit from and helping to bridge that gap. But I also see those gap falls and things that could definitely be things that our kids are not prepared for. And as we are making our way to another school year, and seeing how that may or may not affect our student population. Are we really ready for another semester of virtual learning? If that's going to be the answer, are we really ready to return to school? Mentally as a teacher, are we ready to deal with the situations that are probably going to be coming up in the future school year? These are questions that I ponder pretty much every day. I try not to focus too much on the negative. Like I said, I always try to find the positive answer or the optimistic answer about everything. But are we okay, teachers? And if you're not watching it live and you catch it later, I mean, you can always post your comment and I will respond. But I just wanted to kind of get a consensus, like, how are we feeling? Are we there yet? Do we feel overwhelmed, burdened? If you're willing to share that conversation or even your opinion with me, I would love to have that conversation with you, because it's crazy. And I got a couple more questions too, but this one is kind of the one I built the conversation around. Are we okay? Checking in. Mental health for us is a major thing. Is a major thing, and I know trying to keep that mental health. And keep our minds in a positive place so that we're not overthinking and overworking, as we keep dealing with a situation where we don't even know what our school year is going to look like for the next year, because they're making decisions, based on current conditions, so they can't make a straight decision because we don't know what's going to happen, in the month of July. And if it's been like anything like the first 6 months, it's questionable. It is very, very questionable. Very questionable. So I don't know. Just some thoughts that are running through my head. So, like I said, are we okay? I can come back to that question. I'm waiting to see, if any of my fellow teachers may join or may not join. Actually, I think I'm going to tag a few people to the conversation. I'm not doing a watch party because I don't want to. I want everybody to be in the main conversation. So when you put your comment in, I can see it. When I do the watch parties, I have to watch two different locations, and it makes it a little hard. Um, so I'm trying to think. Okay, I know. And I'm just tagging a few people. So like I said, you can, uh, if you have a comment, you can definitely uh, join in on the comment. Just tagging a few teachers here that I think may have some thought process uh, to what we're talking about. Hopefully they'll join in and uh, maybe not be too scared to give their opinion. I have a lot of teacher friends. I have a lot of teacher friends. I could tag so many, but I'm only tagging a few. Uh, and maybe it'll kind of spark that conversation. But I mean, like, I just really been thinking about, um, are we just really trying to have that conversation? Are we okay? Are we ready for another school year? Even like the one we had before, or even like the semester that we just left. Are we? Are we kind of ready to return to the school, whether it be normal or virtual learning? Are we there yet in that particular conversation? It's a really good question that I ponder about. I ponder about. Oh, hey, Ashley. Hey, I'm glad you commented. I'm glad you're in here. Let me see your comment. I'm okay. Unfortunately, the idea of what may happen next year is scary. I think everyone is in a different scenario. For me, I'm with my older parent who has underlying issues and I have to work. So it's really scary that we have to choose between the two. You know, I'm so glad you commented first and foremost. Hello, and I thank you for your comment and even being on here. I really appreciate that. I definitely empathize and sympathize with you. Um, because you're right. Everybody's scenario is different. There's not a one way course to this, or even how things may look. Um, and for those who I know, several teachers who do take care of their parents or older people, and it is even scarier because you don't want to be the reason that those people may be sick or infected or anything like that. So I appreciate you for your honesty, and I'm glad to hear that you're okay. Um, but yeah, it's very scary because you don't want to choose between the two. You don't want to choose between your loved ones or your students. It puts us in a rock and a hard place, and it's unfortunate that we have to be in that this time now where you're having to choose between your job that you love. Most of us who teach because it's our passion, and your profession or your family. I'm sorry. You don't want to choose between your profession and your family. Your family who you love and adore. I find my brother. Hey, baby. I find my brother. My oldest brother, and I hope you don't get mad at me for sharing this information, but he's been working in and out of the hospitals, and his job mainly has him, working in the hospitals, which wasn't his primary thing prior to the COVID outbreak, but definitely now it has him, sharing, in the hospitals more, and it's scary because he has kids at home, he has a wife at home, um, and so it's kind of like, they have to be really careful. They want to be normal, but you got to be careful because he literally could be the source of his whole family being infected if he's not taking care of himself and what's going on. Just some food for thought there in that process, and it's scary. Um, I know for myself, like I've been wanting to kind of return in a sense, like mentally, I want to go back into the building. I feel like having that in person with your kids it's not replaceable. I mean, virtual learning was fine. I'm really savvy, so I was able to make it do what it do. But I just feel like that in person is something you can't forget. You can't get back. And I don't think the kids realized that until they were 6 weeks into online learning. And it's like I miss coming to school, like hearing them saying it faithfully. I miss being in school. I miss going to school. Like, can we not come for at least a day or two a week, to get our instruction? Like hearing kids reach out and say that, really broke my spirits because it was like, man, I didn't. You knew that it'd be some changes, but you didn't realize how bad the kids would miss that interaction with the teachers, with each other, until they didn't have it anymore. And it shocked me because I didn't think a lot of them would be affected as much as they are and have been for the duration of the school year. So interesting stuff. I pray for you and your family, as these decisions are made. I truly miss my students and nothing beats human interaction. Man, who are you telling, man? It's like I said, I can get along with online learning. Like I can definitely deal with that part. But just having that in-person interaction, being able to joke, high five a student, give a hug, a piece of candy, have a discussion in person and being able to really see each other's faces and body language, is so different, and every subject's different. So I know each subject was affected differently. But it's so different, to have that situation, man. I definitely agree with you on that. I miss my students. I miss seeing, some of them for the last time. I work in high school now, so definitely miss seeing someone for the last time and having those interactions with them and seeing them, have that senior moment and all those things that they are entitled to, as a student, or have been entitled to in our past years. To this year they didn't have that entitlement due to this pandemic. Um, it's a hard situation, man. It's definitely a hard place, a very hard place. All right. Before I get to my next question, I just wanted to leave the floor open a little bit for a few more people. I see people coming in and out, so I just want to make sure nobody else had anything to answer before I go to my next question. And you kind of touched one of my questions, with your interaction with the kids, man, because that's a big question. That's a big question to have. Real big question to have. I'm trying to see anybody else. All right, so I'm gonna keep going on. I mean, as people get on, we can always go back to questions. I want to get to my next question and my topic. Just kind of want to get a feel, and I know this time is probably a weird time at 6 o'clock, so probably should have did it a little bit earlier. But it is what it is. Um, and I think we touched this topic a little bit, but I'm gonna kind of go to this question. Are we ready for a new school year during the pandemic time? And I'll start off with that. Of course, um, I am ready for a new school year. I love to teach. It's a passion that I knew I always had, so it's not something I'm afraid of doing in the midst of this because we still want to make sure we enrich our kids and give them the sense of normalcy um, that they deserve. I think ready is the word that I'm looking at the most. Am I ready for the school year during the pandemic? I don't know that if I'm truly ready for it. I don't know if I'm really there yet. I'm kind of I'm kind of in a situation where I want to continue with the school year, but I'm at the same point where it's like I'm not for sure if that's the smartest decision per se. Um, I'm not for sure if that's the smartest decision. I'll leave it at that. Um, because we don't really know what's going on, and decisions are being made literally every day. Um, every day, decisions are being made every day, and we're not for sure, what um, is going to come the next month, or how things are going to be the next month, or whatever the case may be. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful, and definitely I'm not scared to go into the school. I'll say that I'm not scared to go in. I'm definitely not scared to go in. Okay, definitely not scared to go in. I'm trying to see. Uh, and another thing is uh, another thing is you know as we go in. Hey, Miss Reedy, she said no. Oh, Miss Reedy, she says no. Um, well, I get that. This is question number two, by the way. The first question was, are you okay? I talk to you on a normal basis, so I think I kind of know how you feel. But um, I'm not for sure. Oh, Michael's on here. Hey, Michael. Let's see. Oh, so you going into the school when it opens back up? Mike, I'm not afraid to. Let me say that. I'm not afraid to. And if I have to choose between returning to the school building and my nose always catches a light. If I have to choose between returning to the school building and doing online learning virtually, my honest opinion is that I would prefer to be in the building. I'm not gonna lie. Am I cautious about that? Yes, I am very cautious about the decision. But I feel like I teach my best in person. I'm very good with online learning, so don't get me wrong. I can do everything through online learning. But I feel I'm more effective, and that's just my opinion when I'm in person. Listening to my kids, I gave my kids surveys. I got feedback from my kids. It wasn't that I was not, they felt they were like, Mister, you do everything that you do in class online. So I made it feel like regular class. But for them, it was the disconnect of the connection in person, the in person connection. Um, and I don't want to deprive my next group of kids of that. So for me, I'm not opposed to going back. I would probably prefer to be back in the classroom um, if we have to start school back up on when school reopens. That's just my opinion. But if we do online, I'm cool with that too. I know everybody's not like me, but that's just kind of where I am in the situation. Thank you, Mike, for that question. Um, I'm I'm kind of at this point. I think I seen Miss Forte come in. Hey, Miss Forte. I'm kind of at that point right now. Like, I definitely want our kids to be enriched. And I saw. I'm not for sure if y'all saw that post, and I think it's a legitimate post. Based on what I saw from a accredited resource, I saw what the TEA. There was a post that was going around saying that the TEA pretty much said that we're going to be um, doing STAR tests with or without COVID this coming school year, and that's scary for me because we don't even know how we're going to teach the school year yet. Um, hey, Miss Forte, a beauty, every man's dream and every man's heartbreak. I love you. Hey, Mama Forte, we just talking teacher talk. I just need to check on my teachers and see how they're doing and if they're okay. So I just had a couple of questions, just informal talk. Uh, but yeah, I don't know if y'all saw it, but the TEA was pretty much talking about um, that we would do STAR tests, with or without COVID, and I'm caught up in a place because I'm like, how can we administer STAR if we're teaching virtually? If the situation was like it was in the spring where we're going to be virtually teaching, how can we truly count a STAR against these kids? There's so many gaps that could be left, and I mean that's just from watching what happened in the spring. And I know they're saying it's not going to be the exact same, at least with my district. But there's still so many gaps that can be left there with our kids. They haven't been fully equipped to learn this way. Not saying they can't, but they just haven't been fully equipped. So I don't know. I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at. But for those who are joining in and coming in, I want to jump back to my original question real quick before I move on. Are you okay? How are y'all doing? Are y'all okay? Oh, Miss Thomas, what she say? Brandon Banks, I'm okay, but I'm not looking forward to returning to school. Miss Thomas, I understand that. I'm first off, I'm glad you're okay. I'm definitely glad you're okay. Um, and I respect the fact that you're not looking forward to returning. I know everybody's not. I definitely know everybody's not there yet, and not in a place where they feel safe enough to return. I know for myself. It's no secret I have asthma and bronchitis, so I know I am definitely a high risk person to be able to do it. And I've been quarantined in this house. If y'all notice, I go walking at the lake and I be in my house. I run a few errands here and there, but I try to stay in the house as much as possible, out this air and out of all this other stuff, because my asthma's been acting a fool with all the dust and everything and the allergies and all that crap. So I definitely understand your point, Miss Thomas. But I'm just, are y'all? I'm hoping everybody's okay, and you're getting that mental break and some relaxation at home. I'm finding peace, and I'm learning how to be still. Something I'm not real good at. If you know me, I run 1,000 miles a minute and I do way too much. So I've been able to find a sense of peace um, and rest, something that I have really shied away from for years. And it's been comforting. So I'm kind of feeling somewhat re-energized. I'm not going to say I'm fully ready, but I'm definitely feeling re-energized. And I haven't been on a vacation yet. And usually that is my vindication as to whether I'm ready for the school year or not. But I haven't even been able, I'm not scared to go, but it's not nowhere I really want to go to right now, just because of the situation. All right. Let me see. So we talked about, are we okay? I asked everybody, are you ready for the new school year during the pandemic? Um, Let me see. Ms. Forte says all teachers need to be protected from this virus. Agreed. Agreed. I can't say anything else there. That is spoken from a vet, seasoned vet, and it's all facts, Ms. Forte, all facts. All teachers do need to be protected, and I know TAs, working on some stuff, as far as with the guidelines and all that stuff that they decide. But you know, the question is, what are they going to do to protect us from the virus? Because the kids may not be the biggest concern. It's really the adults that they're going to be facing the virus, and that's my personal belief. That's my personal belief. Um, if we go back this year, another question I thought of was, what changes would we like to see? What changes would we like to see, especially, seeing how things were really quick minute or last minute for the spring to make the adjustments. And, you can't, nothing's going to be perfect. A lot of adjustments were made. And I think most places tried to do the best they could with the circumstances. But going into this new year, and planning that we're going to have a basic year, what changes as teachers or even parents, if there's any parents on here, would we like to see, going into the new year? I know that I would like to see personally accountability. If we're going to do this, we got to do it and have a level of accountability. I know that it's kind of hard to do that because there's so many scenarios and different circumstances for not only our workers, but even for our students. And I know for my school, for the school that I'm located at, it makes it really hard because some of our kids are kind of in the inner city and some are more in a rural type setting. And so I know internet issues was an issue, a lot of stuff. But as a teacher, I saw a big lack in accountability. And that not just on student or parent side, I saw it on student side, teacher side as well. Accountability, how are we going to hold that level of accountability to everyone? Oh, I got a comment come in. Let me see. Ashley Reedy says, I agree. I don't want to bring home the virus to one of my 4 children because this pandemic parent would send their kids to school with the flu and pneumonia. So they would have no problem sending them in with the Rona. Ashley, that is a legitimate concern that I think a lot of us have. How do we know the parent's not going to send their kid in sick? Who's to say what sick is? Because not everybody's having temperatures, not everybody's coughing or whatever. Even the news is telling you, the little bit that I do watch. Even the news is telling you, symptoms seem to be different. Severity has changed. Of people right now since the pandemic first began. So what is sick? What does that look like? Because everybody's learning together, including the doctors and the researchers. And that is the fear. Luckily, I'm not in that situation of kids. I don't have any physically right now, but I don't want to bring it home, and I definitely don't want to catch it. I don't want to be susceptible to it, and I probably am highly because of my asthma and bronchitis. So definitely, and bronchitis is already a cough. I don't need to be coughing anywhere because everybody's going to think I got the Rona. Everybody's going to think I already have, COVID-19 because there are times when I'm going to cough because of bronchitis in certain seasons, and people are going to automatically assume I'm sick, and what is that going to look like? And your comment kind of goes back to the comment that Ashley said, and her comment earlier before y'all got on was she was the same way. She said, I'm okay. Unfortunately, the idea of what happens next year is scary. I think everyone is in a different scenario, which is true. For me, I'm with my older parents who has an underlying issue and I have to work. So it is really scary that we have to choose between the two. And I feel like your comment is right there with her. That is a very sincere statement. What is that going to look like? Um, so I know for me, like I said, I would love to see changes. I would definitely love to see accountability and security. Knowing that the district will, or the state, or whoever's decision it is to make, will support us. If we get sick, what about our days? What is that going to look like? If we have to quarantine for 14 days, if we're exposed, what is that going to look like? I've seen a lot of these comments, in other groups and other teachers having them, but I just wanted to bring that up because I'm really, I read, but I pick people's brains. Like I really want to know you know, what is everybody's feelings about this. So I thought about that as well. I forgot to tag Joy earlier because I wanted to kind of get, some people I knew that's not scared to give their opinion on the topics. So I don't know. Is there any other changes, that y'all can think of y'all would like to see? If you think of any, you can type it in there. Kind of want to go to the next question. The next question, Ashley, the Ashley Brown, that is, she already kind of answered this one, but do you miss your students? Do y'all miss your students at this point? Do you feel like it's too early to say you miss them, or do you genuinely miss them? I know for me, I can say that I miss my students on all levels, even the ones that I didn't directly teach, but the ones I interacted with in the hallways and in other places. I definitely miss my students. I missed them to the core. I missed laughing and joking. I missed everything. Ashley said too early. Ashley, you are a mess. Okay, you're right. We only been out a couple of weeks, so I guess you could say that. But I'm looking at from a time from post spring break now. Like I truly miss my kids. I definitely miss interacting with them and playing with them, but teaching them beyond the textbook, teaching them life lessons and those skills, skills that would take them beyond school and classroom. Hey, Miss Cherry, she said, I miss my kids too. Yes, like it's hard, Miss Cherry. It's hard. As we're going into this new school year, it's really hard. And that's just something, we are looking at. Miss Cherry, I'm gonna go back to a question, in case you have anything else. Hey, honey. But I'm gonna go back to some of my original questions. And again, just kind of give everybody a chance before I get to my last question. My original question was, I'm not putting that comment on the screen. I am not putting that comment on the screen. So my original question was, Miss Cherry. My original question was, fellow teachers, educators, people who work in the schools, even parents, are we okay? How do y'all feel right now with the possibility of returning to school, where we're going? My other question was, are you ready for a new school year during the pandemic? She says, I'm just saying. I know, and I know you meant exactly what you said. I just don't want to flag it across the screen. But thank you for keeping it real, always real. I know you're never gonna lie to me. But my other question was, are you ready for the new school year during the pandemic? And what changes would you like to see? Those are the main three questions we've discussed so far. And of course, do you miss your students? Like I said, this is just a side chat. I just wanted to have this conversation with my fellow peers, so that we can know about it. And again, I'm putting this disclaimer out there. This is streaming to not only Facebook, but it's streaming to my YouTube channel live. I don't have any subscribers, but this is part of my YouTube channel. But I'm just doing it through Facebook and YouTube. But definitely want to. I'm just wanting to, see how everybody, where we lie as teachers, educators, people who work with students in the school system, And I guess my last comment, where I kind of decided to end this, and then I had a few little things I wanted to show real quick, or share my screen to show some things. Hold on. She says, I'm prayed up and ready for my babies, for that love and affection they missing. We never know what's going on at their home and just make sure we're careful and cautious. You know, Terry, you definitely hit a bullet on the head. Um, you definitely hit a bullet on the head. You We don't know what our kids are going through. You know, in a lot of situations, school was a safety zone or a safety net. You know, for a lot of kids, you know, it was a safe haven. You know, from a lot of life situations, not necessarily home life, but life situations. And you know, being that you know they haven't been able to make it maybe to that safe haven, it really hurts. It hurts the heart. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you know what some kids may have to endure or go through. You know, some kids lean on you. You know, so for some of our kids, we are mom and dad or mom and dad number two. You know, I got Father's Day thank yous from some students like "You're my second father," which broke my heart to wake up to text like that because you don't think about the impact you really leave on kids um, the way that they think about it. You know, we think, oh yeah, you know, I've seen that child grow. We've helped that child push, but they see it in a whole nother light. You don't know who looks to you as a father figure. And sometimes when you see kids who say like your dad to me, it's warming of the heart, but it really hurts because it's like, man, I haven't really been around this kid in months. So you're right. I agree. I am ready to love on my babies just like you are, and give them that push, that information, that nudge, that level of growth that they need. You know, I know we're at two different age ranges, but you know, my kids are definitely you know headed you know to the adult life, so they definitely need that last push. They on another level with that. Right, right. But you know, because this is and I know there's a few things you know that I've seen going around, and you know the TEA has definitely the TEAs has definitely give the parents an option. So I don't know what school districts you know the parents are, but look up on your school district's website and make sure you know a lot of school districts have put out surveys or contact calls. You know, get on your school district websites, see what surveys they have out there about your choices to return to school. A lot of districts are giving parents choices to return to school, whether it's face to face, online, whatever that may be. Some kids look forward to seeing our faces. That makes their day. You are 100% correct. You are 100. I have kids that would head to my room first thing in the morning before they're even supposed to be down my hallway. It was a ritual before they're even supposed to be down the hallway. And kids that come to me right after school is out. You know, came to eat my class during lunch. You know, I was their safe haven in a lot of ways. So I definitely get it. Hey, Miss King, I'm sorry I tagged you. I tagged you because I wanted you to join the conversation if you were available, but you don't have to. But what I was saying was there are, you know, the if you are a parent or you know parents, y'all make sure you getting your parents out there to take that survey on how their kids are going to return. You know, I'm hearing information, and again, this is all things that I've read and heard. But checking with the TEA website, you know, teacher groups and all the other stuff, you know, that the TEA, you know, are saying schools going to have to, you know, I knew they said our governor said that they were going to have to open, but you know, they're not going to fund the schools if the schools are not open. So that's a whole nother level in itself, because you know we have to open up to get that funding for these schools that are needed, and it sucks. It's crazy, you know, that we have to go through that that decision. You know what I'm saying? So the parents, you have the decision. The power is in your hand whether you want to keep your child at home and to learn distance learning, which will look different depending on the school district. And then you have those parents who may have to go into work, they're essential, or they can't take off, they don't have nobody to watch the kids, and they may have to, you know, send their kid to school. And I'm not against or for neither or. It is what it is. Hey, hey, Cipriano. She says, this is all crazy and confusing. I'm stuck. Yeah, I definitely get where you are, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. It pushes you in a very weird place because part of you wants to go back to work, and the other part of you wants to stay at home for your safety and your family's safety. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. Right, Ashley, you hit the nail on the hand with that right there, and nothing to even say. That's exactly what it's about. That's totally what it's about, in my opinion. She says, I'm here walking. This is good. Thank you. No problem. Thank you for joining. Hey, friend. We're having teacher talk, but parent talk too. You are a parent. So, it doesn't directly affect you at the moment, but it does affect you at the moment. So, you can feel free to stay in the conversation, but I'm going to go back over because I have quite a few people in that hadn't been in here. So originally, my first question was fellow teachers. Are you okay? Or parents, are you okay? How are you doing in this time, where we're having to choose family or work, returning or not returning? That was the original question. She says, and have a positive mindset when explaining to their children about the options, whether parents agree or not. Please think about your child. Correct. That right there, this right here that's a statement. That's a mouthful in itself. You gotta have a serious conversation. Some kids can do distance learning and be just okay with it. And I've said that. If we have to return and have students in, I prefer it to be the kids. For me, those kids that need that in-person instructional support, that they cannot advance or progress without in-person instructional support. But there are quite a few kids who can do it, and get it from the online learning and be a-okay with it. So you are right. And the parents have to think about their child and have that serious conversation and put the child first and their needs. And let's be real, not just make a selfish decision, but I get that some parents do have to be selfish because they may not have any other help, so I get that part too. Okay, Anna, she says, well, my other kids, right, your other kids are in charter school and they are in elementary. And honestly, I just don't know how this is going to work out with my boyfriend teaching high school and then seeing their dad be able to go to school. Okay, you said in. With my boyfriend teaching high school and then seeing their dad be able to go to school and they can't. Good, that's a good point. That is a very good point. If the parent is going to work, or if we're teachers and we're going to school, but our kids are having to remain at home, depending on whatever district or whatever school your child goes to, that's a really good point, Anna. Like a really good point. That's crazy. Like, what that would look like. No, you're fine. You're fine. I think I was reading it a little retarded, but I understood what you meant. But that's a really good point. Like, it is a very weird situation to be in. It's a very weird situation to be in. To be in that situation right now where the parent may be going to work and the kid may not, and that's, I think, a lot of people's fears is because we don't know what's going to happen. Because every district is really working day by day, watching CDC, the local health department, and all these different things to make their decisions. And, they're trying to make the best decision, but the information and the factors are changing each and every day. And that's scary. Sip said, I have one that is a 504 student and I don't know how to help. I'm putting them first in all this, but health-wise, with them having asthma, their health is more important to me, but I don't know how to be a teacher. I don't know all this weird box method, so TA has made it harder for us parents. Thank you, Sip. Like, that's a statement right there. Like, that's the piece of information. Like, I'm trying to get it because I don't have kids. So, like, understanding it from somebody who is a parent, sees it from more than one side, that is definitely what I'm looking, I'm trying to help me make my decision and how I feel too. But, for others, we're sharing, where we feel. I definitely understand that. One of the conversations that I personally had with one of my students who, similar situations, was I told the parent, and I told my parents straight up, like, this is my job. I'm the teacher. I'm not I'm high school level. So I don't expect them, for primary kids, I do understand that they need a lot of more instructional support from a parent, teacher, guardian, whatever the situation. From, a secondary level, like I told them, and I don't think all teachers are like me, but like I told them, my thing was I need the child to be available. I made myself available more than probably most teachers did during this time. I'm not gonna say all, but I did 4 lives a week, Monday through Thursday. I would do Friday by request. I definitely try to I definitely try to uh sorry y'all. I definitely try to make myself available for my students. I was answering emails and texts at nights and things to be with my kids throughout the clock because some wasn't getting on during the day because they had to rely on their parents' stuff, at night. And it just was one of those things. So I definitely understand what you're saying, but for me, it's my job to teach the child. But it does get harder with students who have special needs to do it in an online format. Yes, we can walk them through the process. Yes, I can share my screen. I can, do, like Google Docs. I love because you can work with the child on stuff, and at least in my subject. But for subjects like math and science, or for even those CTE subjects, that's hard. I understand your pain. From the point that I can't understand it, and I'm sorry. It's definitely making it hard because I know some parents can't fulfill the shoes of a teacher. And I thank you for being honest to say that. Some parents can't fulfill those needs. Oh, I got several comments. Boy, y'all coming in now. Hey, cousin. She says, does the child have a program to follow? Are you talking to Cipriano? I think your question's to her. Does the child have a program to follow? I would assume she does. But we're talking about. I had to pose some questions, and just seeing their frustrations, and what their fears and stuff are. So she was responding to one of the questions I asked. I'm sorry, but I'm sure her child does. Let me see. Ms. King says, in my opinion, the state messed up when they did not consult educators. Okay, it is a mess and a shame on the leadership for not having the bigger picture. I'll help the lady and her child. Right, right, right. I was helping anybody I could, during the time. I don't care if it was family member or neighbor. If they needed help, if it was something that I could help in, that I'm good in, I helped them, or I got the tools for somebody to help them. And I do agree. I do feel, and that was something I've always shared with my administration and with everything. Even during this time, I shared it with my administration. I feel like you cannot make a positive decision with all these major decisions. It is hard to make a positive decision without dealing with the people who are in the classrooms, and not just us. You got to talk to people in all positions: the office workers, the classroom, the security guard. When you're making these big decisions, you got to look at it from a holistic view, from all perspectives. No, you're not going to please everybody, and yes, everybody will not be happy. But when you have people from all areas that it's going to affect, you're going to get a good holistic view of the best options and how to make the best route. And I do agree with you on that. They do not consult with enough teachers and or other positions that are needed to make the decisions that have been made. And I'm not expecting them to please us by 100% because everybody's never going to be happy. That's humanly impossible. But I feel like we would make some stronger decisions if the people at the top, TA, whoever it may be, would come down and talk to us lower level individuals who are going to deal with these situations on a day-to-day basis. And the teacher deals with it on a day-to-day basis. Every decision they make affects us on some level. And it sucks that we're not a part of it. Yes, my cousin in here. Okay, so you were talking to her. Yeah, I thought you were. She says, yes, online was challenging, but like you, I had to make myself available. Sister was plumb tuckered out. I enjoyed it though. Yes, I agree. It was very tiring But there's a lot of things about it that I love. There's a lot of things that I saw students do that didn't. I saw students who did not excel in class, maybe because it just wasn't their cup of tea, who were excelling online. And I want to say organically. I don't feel like they were copying or cheating. I feel like they really online just it worked with their learning process. But then there were kids who excelled in person that gave up online. It did not work with their learning process. It was tiring. I think I worked 10 times harder online than I did in the class. But, um, you know, I it wasn't bad. I can deal with online, but I would prefer to be in person. Scipiano says, yes, he does, but it. Okay, so this is your answer to the question. Yes, he does, but it was never explained. So when we stumbled across all this out of nowhere, I didn't know what to do. I tried, but I felt him getting more frustrated with me trying than what he was used to at school. I felt lost and guilty, like, what or where did I go wrong? See, and that, I'm sorry, Sip, that's the part that hurts because I know it was not a direct intention, but we're losing kids in the gap. We're losing kids in the mindset. I'm sorry if y'all hear that cat. That's my cat. When she hears me down here talking, what she thinks talking to myself, she does that. But I'm sorry that that you, not only you but your child, but there's so many more like you that I know who felt that way, and their children were feeling that way because they don't have all the skill sets they need to work with that type of with those situations. And it sucks that y'all don't have what you need, and there's no way we could deliver everything you needed the way things went so quickly in the spring. And I don't feel like we should have to put those kids through that situation again. And there's gotta be a better answer to how we deal with such scenarios like this, so that those kids are getting all the support that is needed, and they are not lost, and they're not left frustrated. Because I do feel like I had a lot of kids, just like you, who were that felt that way, that felt you know that they that mom was frustrating, and so and they just gave up. Okay. um Before the state opened up. Oh yeah, yeah, definitely before the state opened up. I do agree. It has to happen before the state opened up. Definitely agree with that. It should have happened. And with the way things are now, before school opens up, it needs to happen again. That's my personal opinion. Um, Sip says, as parents, we have wholeheartedly depended on the schools and teachers that we have slacked off. Wow, that's a powerful statement. I stayed in tune with my children and what goes on, but not every part in this is the same. I'm sorry, every parent is the same. I can Google, ask Siri, and ask teachers, but it's not the same as what the children have learned and come accustomed to themselves to accustom themselves with. They build bonds, and it's not the same. The online process is hard. Sip, wow, wow. I'm at a loss for words because you said something that was so important in there. Um, a lot of parents, and I do agree with that, and I hope I don't offend nobody when I say that, but um, a lot of parents growing up, let me say it this way: growing up, my mom, my grandma were actively in my education process and how I learned and make sure that I was in my studies. With this new technology age and the way we live kind of a faster life pace from when I was a child, I do feel there has been a slack off between the connection of parents and the education process. So your first sentence of what you said, I totally feel it because I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I do feel like this um, forced parents to kind of work with their kids in education, but it caused a lot of frustration because it shows that it hasn't been happening in such a long time. I'm definitely glad you stay in tune with your child, but I understand that you're not equipped to give all the same services and strategies and methods that your child needs. And yes, the online process was hard. I do understand that for a lot of people it was hard, and I tried my best to make it as simple as possible. She says, Cipriano Marie, it is hard to help the child in general. If he feels comfortable, let him work by himself and let him ask you for help. Encourage as much as possible so he can build his confidence in his own ability. If you need a tutor, let me know. Thank you, Shay. See, this is the point of this conversation. Like, we got to build a stronger community, because if we don't know where to go and what to do after it's really gonna hurt. We gotta get ready for whatever's gonna come. But the goal is that as a community, we gotta get better. And we gotta build these networks to help our kids on the block, on our street, whatever it's gonna be, because we can't leave the kids in the gap. Miss King says, yes, Miss Sip, I can only imagine. I'm sorry for that. Please forgive yourself and the situation. We'll get him back on track. I will help your child now if you would like. See, Sip, now you got two people, Miss King and my cousin Shay. I've worked with Miss King, and Shay's my cousin. So you have two resources that will definitely be willing to help, and you always got me. We go back. So, you worked with me and Miss King, you worked with us. So, we will definitely have your back to get those resources or whatever it is that you need. Hey, Tony. She says, my point exactly. Which point, Tony? I don't know. I'm assuming you're talking about Cipriano's point. Oh, here she go. And on top of that, the kids are learning more than y'all did back in the day. Right. I have a 4-year-old, so it's easy for the most part, but my high school kids don't have parents that know even half of what they are learning in school. Tony, talk about it, honey. Talk about it. That's what I'm talking about. Like, and I kept telling my parents, and I can only speak for myself as a high school teacher. Y'all, parents, are not expecting y'all to do what I do. If your child is experiencing issues, I gave them my email number, my work number. They had, private message me in the Google Classroom. They had 3 or 4 ways to contact me. You know what I'm saying? Contact me, and I'm going to get you the help you need. I don't care if I have to walk you through it step by step, have a private class with you. I did recorded videos, live videos, tutor sessions, step-by-step directions, whatever it's going to take to get them the information to be successful, because it was a lot. And everybody was not equipped to be ready for that mental mind nor the stress level. And part of that, and I'm going to put it out there, and again, my fellow teachers do admit to me, some teachers did the most when they should have been scaling back. I kept my class online like my class in school, but what I did was I kept my plan, but I scaled back on some of the workload. And I tried to keep my assignments as simplistic as possible so that it was not as frustrating as what could have been done in the classroom, because at this point, we don't know. Everybody's scenario was different. And because we don't have that and there was no accountability of that, how do you deal with that? I definitely understand that. She says, my other comment is up there somewhere. Oh. I only saw the one that said my point exactly. So maybe I didn't get it, but it's okay. I know what you're talking about though. But yeah, I definitely agree wholeheartedly. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. And, at the end of the day, we got to be ready for whatever comes. But I definitely want us to build a community of love and support as teachers, parents, and whatever the case may be. Some of y'all are in both cases, you're teacher and parent, but definitely to build that community of support, because if we are back into distance learning, online learning, virtual learning, whatever word you want to use, then we got to make sure that we strengthen our community and build that village mentality like when we were young kids back up. To get, to help everybody, because it's going to be hard, even with social distancing and the mask and whatever, we got to be ready for that. And if we're back in the classroom, God, we got to pray for safety and that we will be protected, as best as possible, because it's a risk no matter what. It's a risk if we're online, it's a risk if we're in person. Let's see. She says, just FYI, TA, yes, I talked about that a while ago, says STAR is back 2021. Keep that in mind as you decide. Yes, my transition was smooth because we had a routine. I showed them how to schedule their time and be productive. Yeah, I was doing online learning. I did a flipped classroom this year, and it was the first time I ever did it. So 95% of my work was already online, and the way we were doing the learning. So when we went to virtual learning, It just took the classroom part out, but everything that we did was the exact way. Um, it just was getting the kids to be active and engaged because that was part of the problem. And then they were battling 8 classes worth of workload, and some teachers did not have any give. And I'm just throwing it out there. Some teachers didn't have any give. They were doing the most, and they needed to back off, hit the brakes several times. But yeah, I talked about that a while ago that the TA says we're doing STAR this year, and I don't see how can you say there will be a STAR and you don't even know how we're going to teach this year, let alone the pandemic. But I saw the headlines that said regardless of COVID, so that's going to be interesting. And then I got put back in the STAR tested subject this year, and one of the hardest ones for our, for high school level. And it's like, do you want us to fail? Like, I can do my best, but you can't make the kid do anything if we end up virtual. You can't make them do anything. And there was no accountability, so unless y'all changing that accountability level, I don't know. But yeah, you're right. When those parents go do your surveys with your districts, please make a very informed decision about how your kid's going to learn, whether it be online or in person. What will be best for your child? What are the needs of your child? Really assess that and be real with it. Be real with it. She says, thank you. She says, you are an awesome teacher, but no disrespect to anyone. Not all teachers are the same. I agree. I had one teacher that asked for stuff like he was in high school. Mind you, he is 504 and had accommodations, but wasn't given the chance to use them during this online time. I have to email them all and tell him, hey, I'm not educated in this. Yes, I graduated and I have my education, but come on, education back in the 70s is nowhere near what it is today. Not everyone is computer savvy and not let me see. And not every. Okay, it won't show me your full comment. Hold on, let me finish reading over here. Not everyone is computer savvy. Not everyone is on the same level to expect them to learn on that level when they don't do that in school. You hit that nail on the head. You definitely hit that nail on the head. Cipriano, thank you. I totally agree. I totally agree. We as educators and parents, but we as educators definitely have to keep the child in mind. We still have to make those accommodations. We still have to make those adjustments. And there are a lot of kids that I had to make special accommodations and adjustments for because I know that they weren't going to be able to do some of the things I asked my kids to do online. They just wasn't. Now, some of them, I walked them through it. I did challenge them to try to do as much of it as they could, but I had to know when to allow the exception. Where was the accommodation? What was the modification of the assignment for that child? Because we had to make sure that child would succeed and succeed at the level that they can given the circumstances. And I think some people forgot that. And a lot of it was, honestly, I think a lot of it was frustration. And I hope I'm not saying this wrong. A lot of it was frustration from the teacher perspective because we were getting thrown stuff left and right, not an excuse, but we were getting thrown stuff daily. I mean, things were changing daily for us. And it was frustration. And I think a lot of teachers just really tapped out. That's my honest opinion. Our school is going to be using a new program to help with keeping attendance for online learning and assignments. Yeah, like, tell me how that goes. I'm going to keep in touch. Well, I keep in touch with you anyway, but I'm going to definitely be following up with that because I want to see how that works because I don't know what our district's going to do yet. And notice I'm not saying school names or districts on purpose just for security reasons. But I'm definitely going to follow up with that because I want to know how that's going to look. I want to know what that's going to look like. And I wonder if my district will do the same, and hopefully there will be that. I seen that there may be some promising changes, but we don't know yet. She says online learning will not be the same as it was in the spring. I did hear that. That it won't look nowhere near the same. I definitely heard that. There's going to be a higher level of accountability, but there are people. I know there are students in my district, in my feeder pattern of my school, who are in a rural area that it's hard for them to get internet signal just because of the area they live in. So I don't know how they're going to there are some schools that are going to still have issues. Let me say that. Because we service kids on the outside rule line of the district, and I don't know how that's going to look. That's crazy, but I did hear there's going to be changes. I just want to know what those changes are going to look like, and I know they're still developing them every day, but I want to know what that's going to look like. The committee should have met with you and agreed to accommodate/modify at any level. Yeah, they should have. Yeah, they should have. And caseworkers should have been reaching out to work with that child and to also mediate between the child and the teacher to make sure that the level of difficulty and what was expected was applicable, and that, or modify the lesson or assignment completely if it was something that the child couldn't do. I do agree with that. And I know that was hard for a lot of the caseworkers, but they should have been in touch. Because I know I talked to my caseworkers or emailed them several times with kids so that we can make the best decision for kids that were struggling, because I didn't have the answers to every child either. I know certain ones and I did as much as I could, but you don't know the answers for every child either. He would only have a caseworker if he spent, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But, sometimes they do work with those 504 kids. I mean, I know they give accommodations, but sometimes they do check up on the 504 kids as well. But yeah, you're right. They would only have a true caseworker if they're sped, which sucks because you have a lot of 504 kids in some schools. They need a caseworker dedicated to them. Very much so. Oh, y'all made my heart warm because y'all really got in here and started having really high level talk. And that's really what I wanted, y'all. I know I came on at a weird time and I started tagging y'all names, but I only tagged y'all because I knew y'all had a lot of knowledge and education to give, and y'all would make the conversation rich. Not saying that others wouldn't, but I knew y'all wouldn't be scared to give your opinion. I really appreciate y'all. So let's see. We talked about the Are You Okay? I believe we talked about are you ready for a new school year during the pandemic? And we talked about that. What changes would you like to see? I think we've been stuck on that for a while. Miss Forte's still here? I thought you clicked. I did not know you were still in here. Oh my God, Miss Forte. Okay, let me see. She says, all students need to be protected from this virus as well. The state and government should pose all problems to Congress and to resolve these political issues. Continuing paying the nationwide educational support administrators until these pandemic is over. I realize love is a part of our social interaction with human. It is as an important factor, but to lose anyone in the midst of this pandemic is a love one lost. That is unacceptable and should be posed to those individuals who are paid to. Let me see. Cut off. Let me see. Oh Lord, it only shows me so much of the comment. Hold on, I'm looking up here to see the rest of your comment. Pay those to individuals who are paid to resolve the encounters. Raise the teacher pay. Allow distance learning instruction to persist until the pandemic is over. The dynamics of these political matters should stop mortgages, stop car payments, stop credit card payments, continue unemployment payment. Just raise the payment amounts. The way the kids are still learning, the teachers will be happy with a pay raise, and each family in our country will receive what is needed. We must be patient, continue our lives as a result of the pandemic. We as a people should allow our leaders. I lost my spot. Hold on. Where was I? Oh crap! I lost my spot. I'm sorry, y'all. We as a people should allow our leaders to step up and demand they do their job. Students need educators. Students nor educators created this pandemic. The people come first. Look like the state and government need to go to school and stop taking vacations. The entire educational environment has been forced to emotionally handle problems they have never dealt with before. Let our national and state leaders serve the educational system and stop playing with our educational progress in this election year. Oh my God, I could shout on that alone. Take me to church, Miss Forte. Hallelujah. Yes, ma'am. Miss Forte, oh my God. Miss Forte, oh my God, you just blew my mind. Like, Powerful words from a powerful lady, influential lady. Oh my God, Miss Forte, thank you for that. Oh my God, that was a lot, but it definitely made sense. I'm sorry I chopped up your comment. This screen only shows me so much, and I had to go to my other screen to see the rest of it. Oh my God, thank you, Miss Forte. That comment, real well thought out, well written, and I totally agree. Totally agree. Let's see. Sip said in school he was taken out and he had additional help and had an IEP, but for the online, he wasn't given that help. He was expected to learn as everyone else. And see, that's where we failed as educators, school, state, TA, whoever. It don't matter to me. But that's where we failed because we were in a rush to continue school, but we didn't plan to effectively transition to the other thing. And again, I'm not saying they didn't do the best they could. What I did say is we left a lot of gaps. We left a lot of gaps. And a lot of gaps left a lot of children needing this right here, needing this right here. And it's not fair. It wasn't fair to the kids. It's not fair to the parent. And it's not fair because that's what he needed. He needed what he needed. And that should have been one of those accountability measures I'm talking about that we should have made sure was in place for those kids who needed that. Yeah, that is definitely a shame. That is definitely a shame. Definitely a shame. Yeah. So I know for me, when I talk about what changes would I like, would you like to see? I go back to what I said. I would definitely like to see accountability. I would definitely like to see, a well thought out plan, not something that seems to be thrown or meshed together. A well thought out plan, and I would love to see that they actually include us in, and I say us as in teachers, educators, janitors, police officers, cafeteria workers, whatever. If you work in a school situation, include somebody in those areas in these conversations on what will work, what will not work. If we return to school, what does it need to look like, and how will that affect these areas? If we're going to be online, again, include us. What do we need? How can we do this the best to make sure we're there? And make sure the people that's making the decisions, and I say this with a grain of salt, but make sure the people that are making the decisions are people who truly understand what happens on a day-to-day basis in a classroom setting, in a school setting. There are a lot of people who are making decisions who have never walked a campus or taught on a campus. There are a lot of people that are making decisions who had very short tenures or years in a classroom. And that's why some of the decisions are the way they are, because they don't understand. And I understand somebody has to lead and they got chosen for whatever their criteria was. And I'm not saying they don't or do fit, but we need people with a lot of knowledge who understand the situations, the scenarios, and that will see the issue from all perspectives. You can't look at it from the top down and say this and then see that it doesn't work. And then tomorrow the plan changes again, because that causes confusion at my level. And I saw some of that. In my opinion, decisions were being made from top down, and I know they were doing the best they could to make effective decisions, but it wasn't a one size fit all type of clothing. There were a lot of different sizes that were needed to fit the situation, and we needed those changes to have been effective the first time because it caused confusion over time. And that's what I don't want to see this happen this school year, regardless of whatever the decisions are. If we're online, in person, or a mixture of both, or whatever the case may be, I would love to see an effective collaboration with a decision that is going to bring us unitedly together and make sure that we can be as effective as we were prior to COVID, quarantine, or any of that stuff. And I know that's not going to be easy, but as a teacher, my job is to educate the child, and I take my job very near and dear to my heart, and I want to make sure that I do the best, because that's very sensitive to me. I get very upset when my children do not meet the bar, because either I failed them, the systems failed them, or the circumstance failed them. and I don't like it. And I'll say that because I can get very teary. I can get very teary eyed when I say things like that. So for emotional reasons, I'm going to move on. But um, I definitely want to see our kids excel. I definitely want to see my kids have a fair chance out there, and I don't want to see them graduate and they miss out on so many things they needed, because of the situation that we're in. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. All right. So anyway, we talked about are we ready for the new school year? What changes we would like to see? Miss Forte blew my mind with hers. Oh my God. And Sip has given so much insight. Miss King, Shay, y'all have been, oh my God, awesome. Tony, awesome comments. Anna, awesome comments. And my last, I did ask, did we miss our students? But I think we kind of all know the question to that. And I guess my last topic, and I'm gonna get off because I've been on an hour and 15 minutes. God, have I really been on it long? But my last thing is, advice to parents. Parents, I will definitely say get out there, know what the TA is putting out because they really make all of this. They make the decisions along with our governor about school and what it's going to look like, and then your districts make the decisions based on those rulings of what they can do as a district to implement that and how it's going to look in the district. But definitely get out there and do the surveys that the school districts, most of them have put out surveys to the parents. Please make sure you've actively participated into that. And again, think about your need, your need, your child's need, and what's going to be the best situation for your child, your family, and your circumstance or scenario. Look at what the TA has posted. Y'all, if you haven't been on the TA website, please look at it. They post stuff all the time. I'm just going to quickly share my screen so you can see kind of some of the stuff that I've been looking up. And I don't actively follow them like I probably should, but I do pay attention. Look at the TEA website. This right here that you see right here is one of the last big meeting debriefs that they have. They have them quite a bit, but it gives you links. It gives you information about what's going on, what has been done, what's talked about. Please make sure you look at the TEA, and that's tea.texas.gov. Please look at those websites. It will give you everything that's going on based on law, based on what they're going to do for Texas, funding, attendance. I mean, it's all covered in here. It gets into all that stuff. It gives you links to talk about that, especially like this right here, the school year 2020, 2021 attendance. It gives you the FAQ on that, the PDF, and it tells you what will be synchronous instruction and asynchronous instruction. It explains that and breaks that down. And I know that may be a lot of information to understand, but please be aware of what's going on with TEA and how they're going to talk about school and everything. So definitely wanted you to take a look at that because that's very important. So again, make sure you're looking at that information for if you're living in the state of Texas, that is. Look at that information. If you don't live in the state of Texas, please look at your state and what they're going to do, okay, and how they're affecting that. Got a few more comments here. What it says, we need this conversation. Thank you. People need to be heard. Real people, the children, parents, and teachers. Blessings to you. Thank you, Miss King. I'm really selective about the topics that I cover, but I definitely I felt it in my soul. This was a conversation that was needed. People post things, but we got to talk. We got to bring things back to conversation. A lot of things happen through good, tough conversation. It may be uncomfortable and it may be uneasy, but if we talk through it and understand all perspectives, I feel like we as a people can definitely bridge the gap and bring us one step closer to being great. Thank you, Ms. King, for that. She says, there is a practice star for all levels so you can see where your child is. Yes, please. If you're doing any summer enrichment with your child, if you're pushing them to learn, beyond the classroom years or days, school year, please make sure you give them, let them do the practice star. You don't have to know it. It has an answer key for you, but give your child a star. Take their phone and computers away because the answers are online. And if your kid is smart, they probably can find them. So, but the TA will If you go to TA website, they have a link for release stars by grade level and subject matter. You can definitely have them take that star and then see kind of where your kid is at, based on how many answers they get right or wrong. That will definitely be a good practice for summer enrichment. And they ain't got to do it all in one day. Just have them do like a section here, a couple of questions there. But over the course of the summer, you can see how your kid fared out, and if they're, if they're on level. Thank you, Ms. King, for that. All right. Ms. Forte got one. Here we go. Why talk about STAR tests when the nation can't think straight? Why talk about the STAR tests when the nation can't think straight? Learning cannot take place until we have a concrete educational environment geared toward excellence. Yes, Ms. Forte. That powerful statement again. You are hitting the nail on the head. Hammer nail. Thank you, Ms. Forte. Yes, I can't say I agree or disagree with the test, but what I can say is we haven't developed how we're going to get concrete learning. So how can we test on an uneasy foundation? I do agree with that. You got to have a solid foundation first, and we don't even know if our foundation is not solid right now, not for the circumstance. We need to figure out what solid's going to look like first, and then give them a star. Because the star is just an aptitude, as we know, as educators, it's just a aptitude test. I guess that's the right word, aptitude, to say that they are on level and that they've met the requirements of what the level is. But we definitely need to know, and this is our state standardized test for Texas, for anybody who's not Texas, but for your state standardized test, that says if they've met the level of achievement, we definitely need to make sure that, what does that look like? I know some other states have already canceled their state tests for the year. Texas is not one that has chosen to do that yet. Maybe they will retract that statement and recall it and rethink it. It would definitely be nice. And it's not because I'm scared to teach STAR, but during this time, I'm not. I know what I can do. But we need to make sure we're giving the foundational information of what's needed. Not to mention, new TEKS have rolled out for secondary high school English teachers, and I think most secondary subjects are getting new TEKS as well. So, there's a lot of changes. And then with the pandemic and on all this other stuff, it's too much change and new stuff in 1 year. And then not to mention all of the adaptations that we're going to have to make to try to be successful this school year, because it's not going to be normal. I can definitely pretty much guarantee that. Thank you, Ms. Forte, for that, because that is a very good point. Any other advice to our parents before I end this live? Any other advice? Oh God, yeah, it's almost 8:00. All right, so if there's not any more advice, and if I miss it, y'all, I will read it and I definitely will respond. Thank you for an enlightening conversation, and those who were able to get on and talk to us. I definitely appreciate that. She says, I don't agree with the test, just to offer a suggestion for parents to see what it's like and what the state expects. No, I understand what you were saying. I definitely understand what you were saying. But if we're going to have to be forced to do the state test, we definitely need to make sure the parents are pushing their kids forward to be able to see what the needs of their child is, so we know how to address that appropriately. And that's not just the teacher's job. It is the parents, it is something the parent can do as well. I definitely agree with that. They already know the level of achievement. It's on the same level with our national leaders are. Confused. Miss Forte. Miss Forte, you cutting up. Oh, I love you. I understand. I definitely understand. Yes, ma'am. I agree. Yes. But anyway, thank you all for joining again my conversation, The Way In. Again, this is streaming live to Facebook and my YouTube channel. The Way In is my piece where we have conversation about topics that are needed to be had. And I pick topics that are not the ones that some people want to have. So I'm not, there's a lot of topics I could be talking about, but this is just one that I felt on my spirit that I couldn't wait any longer to talk about. So you'll see me coming. You'll see me coming with more topics, that are of interest that we should be talking about as a people. Just keeping it real. I know, baby. I know you are, and I know you meant it exactly the way you said it too. I know you did, and I appreciate you for that. I really do, because it needs to be heard. It definitely needs to be heard. All right. So anyway, my cat is really, y'all hear that? She's really wanting my attention and don't want nothing. Cause as soon as I get off here, she gonna stop. She only doing it because she hear me talking. But anyway, I thank you all for joining me and having this conversation that needed to be had. It is definitely something we need to talk. I feel like we got a lot of information from different perspectives, parents, teachers, non-teachers, and it definitely helped. If you did not get a chance to be here live, please go back and watch this and replay it. You can also follow my YouTube channel. I have other conversations that I've had there. I'm growing my YouTube channel, and I'm putting it in the Facebook group, my YouTube name, and you can follow me there. And that way you can watch and make sure you see all of the stuff I have. But I'm going to be streaming to Facebook and YouTube live when I do these conversations, just because I feel like it's a very powerful tool to have both. All right. All right. I love you all. I thank you for joining me. I'm about to log off and get ready for my show for my jewelry. So if you want to come back on and have chat, conversation, and watch some good jewelry, then you can do that. All right. I love you all, and I will talk to you later. I hope you have a good, safe evening. Please cover your face, social distance, wash your hands, and please, please, please be safe no matter what you do. All right. Bye, y'all.